Welcome to another episode of the Victory Podcast, driven by Audi. I'm your host, Keely Eure, and I'm so excited to bring you today's episode. I sat down with General Manager Chad Bowden. It was such a fun time. The man is passionate, and I will tell you that up front. He's passionate about USC, he's passionate about winning, and he makes that very clear in the episode. I learned a lot about him, so I hope you do as well. We love doing interviews here during the off-season, so if you have any ideas, be sure to drop it in the comments. We talked to Sam Darnold last week. That was really fun, so check it out if you haven't. But I'm going to keep the intro short and sweet. Let's head into the interview. I'm so excited to welcome in our guest for today's episode, new GM for USC football, Chad Bowden. Chad, thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Excited to be here.
It's been, I believe, a month since you became the GM. What's this process been like for you getting assimilated to the Trojan family?
It's been unbelievable. The USC family and community has really welcomed me and my wife, to LA, and I've really enjoyed the last month of getting to know, obviously Jen and Coach Riley and the entire staff, support staff. I'm just excited to get to work.
It feels like your hire in particular kicked off this wave of momentum for the football program. What can you attribute that momentum to? The
entire staff working together, the whole team working together. It's not going to be just one person. I truly believe that what we have to do within recruiting, it has to be a collective effort, and cohesively together. We've worked together, really, really well. We've hit the ground running really well, and that's why you kind of see some of the momentum that we're gaining, and we got more coming, which is really exciting. And USC offers young people so many different things from an educational standpoint, the tradition, the history, the city. Our big message to these kids is don't sell yourself short for something else. Don't negotiate down to any other opportunity. We're going to give you everything. We are the place to be. And, I think that's why you kind of see the momentum, is because these kids they see what we're doing, and they see the efforts behind Coach Riley and Jen, and how we're all, the alignment, the synergy within the staff. There's just so much going on that's positive right now for USC football and for USC athletics that I think has these kids really excited.
It's funny because you're in the business of recruiting, but in some ways you were a recruit yourself. What attracted you to USC and to working with both Jen Cohen and head coach Lincoln Riley?
Yeah, as soon as I talked to Jen and Lincoln, the biggest thing for me is I wanted to win a national championship. And I'm adamant, about reaching that goal. And, we call it that moment. That's what me and Coach Riley, we talk about, is that moment. And USC gives every aspect that a young person could want. And it's in the best state for high school football. And this state, the reason why this place won a national championship back in 2005, if you look and do research, over 80% of the classes that were signed back then were from the state of California. So I know the proof, and I know where it's located. And you look at all the unbelievable high schools that are here and the coaches that are here in high school. These are phenomenal high school coaches. I think the best high school coaches all across the country reside here in California. And I think the best players in high school come from California. And that's my true belief. And I wanted to be able to recruit those kids. And have you ever heard that song, All the Stars Are Closer?
Yes.
Yeah.
SZA, Kendrick.
No doubt. That's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Every time I hear that song, and when I was going through that process with Jen and Lincoln, as soon as I heard it, I kept playing it. But That's all I could think about, was all the stars are closer. And all you got to do is go get those kids. And if you go and get those kids to this place, sky's the limit.
Yeah, well, one of the mottos we have here, and it's growing even bigger, is the place to be. And it's something that you just described. Yep. But it feels like you truly believe it, even though you've been here for about a month.
Yep.
What makes you believe this so quickly?
So I've always believed it.
Okay.
I grew up a USC fan. I grew up watching Matt Leinart and Lendell White and Reggie Bush. I've actually talked to some of those guys, within the last 30 days, and it's been incredibly grateful to even be on the phone with them. And I make sure they know it too. These are really special people that have gone on and had a lot of success in their careers. But I always knew that USC's degree was world class. I always knew that this place could play for a national championship. I always knew about the market of LA, and I lived in LA for 3 or 4 years. A lot of people don't know that. So there's a lot of USC that was already in me. And that's why when this opportunity, that's what this is all about, is an opportunity. And there's not a better opportunity anywhere else in the country. I don't care, you name a school, it doesn't matter. There is not a better opportunity for these kids, for the coaches that are here, the support staff, people that are in administration, our students. It's the place to be. It's the place to be, and this opportunity I could not pass up, because I want to win a national championship, and we want to win a national championship, and I knew I could do it with all the stars being close.
I feel like building off of putting a fence around California is also making sure that you build with a high school roster, build that culture through homegrown players.
Yep.
How important is that to get the certain guys that you want straight out of high school?
It's everything. And to get them, you just alluded to a gate in California. That is what we're doing, is we're building a fence around the state of California, and basically what I like to call the state of Los Angeles, which reaches a pretty wide range and includes some other major cities, but it's the state of Los Angeles, and we're recruiting that state, to the best of our ability, and it just means more to those kids. And here's the thing. All I can imagine is the Coliseum having a playoff game, and the lights being off, and that torch is lit, and there's a light show, and our kids are coming out that tunnel. But I also can imagine it for our fans. And I want our fans, when they show up to the Coliseum and they watch our kids, I want them to feel it too. I want them to know that they're representing USC, and they're from California. It means more to them just as much as it's going to mean to them when we have that home playoff game. And that's, to talk about high school recruiting, your culture is built through high school recruiting. You're going to need to go into the portal. Everyone across the country is going into the portal. But when you emphasize in high school recruiting, and that is your true focus, you can build a culture within your team because of those kids, because they're signing up for 4 years. Some of these portal guys, and it's not a knock. Some of these guys are there for a year or only 2 years, right? And when you can build a family of guys that have been together for 4 or 5 years, that playing at USC means the absolute world to them. That's how a culture is created. That's how a family is created. And that's why we're going to emphasize and make sure that our high school recruiting is our true focus.
In that sense, how do you balance maybe fixing like immediate needs through the transfer portal, but also building through high school as well?
Yeah, I think, that's the fun part of it, is the flow of how things could go. But I've been a part of a lot of different freshman All-Americans, and there have been a lot of different times where it's like, oh, this is a huge need, is we need this position, and a freshman's come in and played right away. And I can give you a lot of different examples of a lot of really great kids, that have done that. I think as far as when you're building a roster, when you're building a team, you can't pigeonhole yourself to the immediate impact of a player, because you always need to be thinking about what that team's going to be 2, 3, 4 years out. And you have to have a vision of it. And we have a true vision for this roster. And there is a plan that's in motion as we speak that looks after this team for 3 years. And it's similar to what I've done in my career, and it's what we're doing now that I think will really help us and help this place win its 12th national championship.
You kind of took my next question, because I was going to ask you, you've been praised for your ability to evaluate talent and put together rosters. I was going to ask you what's different about your ability to do so, but is it that planning in advance, that 3-year plan that you just described?
I think it's truly caring about young people. I think it's focusing on synergy within your staff and alignment, with the coaching staff, and creating a roster, that matches the personalities of who we have on staff. I think there's a lot of different variables, but I think once you dive yourself into it, you can better understand how to build it. And I think that's what I've done, before, and I'm going to do it again.
So when you parachute into a program like you did for USC, how do you get to know the roster? What does that process look like, both like personally and talent-wise?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to happen when we get the spring ball. There's those kids. It's really cool. These kids are always up, in the office and around, and I've got to meet a lot of them, and they're really great kids. They really are, and I'm blessed to be able to go to work and be here for these kids. But I think I will have a better understanding of where things are at during spring ball, and I'm really excited for it.
Per multiple outlets, USC now has the #1 2026 recruiting class.
Yep.
What type of message do you think that sends?
Yeah, we are we're going to bow up, and this will not be. I want people to know we're coming, and I want teams to know we're coming. I want coaches to know we're coming and recruiting. We're here, and we're going to be here. We're going to be here for a very long time. I think, our ability to recruit these young people and to develop real relationships with these kids and families are at the forefront. And I think the aggressive push that we have in building this roster through NIL and our goals and fundraising and what we're, going into the future of the new era of college athletics, we are going to be blazing the trail opposed to just being a part of it. We're going to be the leaders in it. And I think, I'm not into rankings. I'm really not. I'm into getting the right kids to winning. Whatever a ranking says to me, I've never cared for. All I care about is winning. But I can tell you, when we go after the kids that we really want in recruiting and the families, they're going to know.
You mentioned this new era of college football. I feel like your role in the creation of it is a direct result of that new era. How much does your role help Coach Riley in getting back to, the basic function of what a head coach is?
Yeah, I think it's it's a pivotal position right now in college athletics because there's so much that is already asked upon a head coach, and I think we have one of the best head coaches in college football in Coach Riley, and helping him. This relationship is us working together, and there's great alignment and synergy together, and that's. It's been really awesome, the first 30 days working with him. And, I think the biggest thing right now is allowing these coaches at this university, at USC, to flourish and truly coach and focus on these kids and take some of the other things that they don't want to focus on away from them so they can do their jobs.
Yeah, Coach Riley described your role in relation to him as separate but has synergy. How would you describe how you guys function in that sense?
Together. And not just that, it's there. We're all in this thing together, and we're all working together as one. This isn't, it's not. There's no power. I've heard some things in the media about the power dynamic and stuff like that. There's no power dynamic. It's all of us together working as one to help this place win a national championship and win that moment. And that is, there isn't one person that's going to be able to do it all by themselves. It's going to take everyone, and not just, me and Coach Riley and Jen, and it's going to take Coach Henney and Coach Belk and Coach Ryan and Coach Nua and Coach Heward and Coach Simmons and Coach John, all these guys, Coach Dora, all these guys. It's going to take all of us coming together as one to cohesively, build this roster and to come together into helping us win football games.
As you just alluded to, that trust factor is so important. And I feel like the best way to build trust is to live with someone. And you alluded to the fact that you were with Coach Riley at the start of when you first came to California. What was that experience like?
That was awesome. I got to tell you. And it was great for me because me and Coach Riley have never met. I'd seen him on the road recruiting maybe a couple different times, but we never really met or knew each other. We were on the phone quite often. Talking about, this role and his vision and what he wants to accomplish. but I didn't really know him personally. And to be able to spend time with his wife and his 2 daughters, they are just the best people. And it really helped me because, when you're talking to, I didn't want to talk to, I didn't talk the first 3 or 4 days getting here to a recruit because I wanted to know the people and who I was working with. And I wanted to understand this unbelievable university. And I wanted to know everything. I wanted to know the fight song. I wanted to know the area. I wanted to know, and I had been here before, but I wanted to know every key detail of this place, including Coach Riley and his family, which has been great because they are the best people. And I just want him to win. And when you're around somebody, you're like, man, I just want to help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let me help you.
Yeah.
I will give you everything I got. For you, your wife, your 2 daughters, that's what helped me in recruiting because now I could sit there and talk to a family and be like, come play for Coach Riley.
Yeah.
It helps that pitch.
It's authentic. And
it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. Now he makes the best steaks. I don't know if anybody knows this. This guy,
you said balsamic so much in
balsamic steaks. It is like and the way he was talking about it, he's like, yeah, Mastro's is good. He was talking about, all these other places. I'm just telling you. When you come to my house and I make you a steak, I'm just letting you know.
And it lived up to the hype?
Oh my gosh.
Because usually when people hype things up.
It's the best steak I've had since being here. It's the best steak. It's probably top 5 of my life.
Wow.
That's real. He puts it like on a smoker.
Okay.
And there's like this detailed approach.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He brought out the playbook, dialed it up.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Put it in the smoker.
Mastermind.
And he is a mastermind.
Well, in that sense, I'm curious, have you picked up on how he is as a recruiter?
Yeah. As far as being a recruiter, he's the best head coach I've ever been around.
Wow.
And, there's a lot of things that go into recruiting. There's the evaluation side of it. There's the recruiting side of it. And he's the best I've ever been around. And you see it every day in how he builds relationships with these kids. The evaluation ability at multiple different positions. I'm not really used to that. I'm used to, mostly handling the evaluations and then getting with the position coach and the coordinator. He does a really great job, and I think it's really good because we can bounce ideas off each other as far as building this roster. And I think there's a lot of alignment that can be done through those conversations, whether they're difficult conversations and confrontational, or they're conversations of, yeah, man, I like this a lot. Yeah, I like it too. There's so many things that can happen through that process that can really enhance and help this program. And it's been really great to work with him in recruiting.
You mentioned it already, but in your presser as well, you seem very proactive. Not only is this a new era of college football, but you want to be attacking and be on the forefront.
Yep.
How do you do that as a program and make sure everyone's on the same page?
It's your actions every day, and it's the way that you attack, and try to win every single day that you're working. And it's the intentional work. It's having a structure and a schedule and following it and believing in it. And, helping the coaches understand, hey, if we stick to this plan here, we're going to get results, and we already have. And we're going to continue to do so. I know I've kind of alluded to it before, but, we will bow up. And, I'm going to keep saying that, like, that is, I want people to know that we're here because there is not a better program for these kids. There is not. And there is not one thing that USC doesn't cover. I want to recruit that way because this is USC. We are the best, and we don't sit backseat to anybody, and we're coming for every single program. In that light, we want them to know we're here. The place to be resides in Los Angeles, California, the number one market in the United States of America, and the greatest city for high school football. For high school coaches, when USC football is at its peak, there is not a hotter ticket in town than USC football. When USC football is where it's supposed to be, there is not a greater place in the sport. And I truly believe in that. And look forward to helping to get there.
Now, for those who might not understand, what does bow up mean? Just so that they're clear.
Bow up. We are not going to take a backseat to any program in the country. And we are going to be aggressive, thoughtful, and anytime that someone recruits against us, they're going to know that we're ready for the fight.
There's a saying called winning the press conference. And I feel like that's something you do very well. You say the right things. How do you make sure, as someone who talks so boldly, that you back it up?
Work. I don't think you can. It's one thing to just go to a press conference and talk. I don't plan on going to any press conference saying I need to win with what I'm going to say. It's truly how I feel, and it's truly what I mean. Anything that we're trying to do for this football program is intentional and it's thoughtful.
You mentioned how your mom said you are who you surround yourself with. Why is that so important to you, that motto, that message?
Yeah, I think, back when I was a younger kid, I used to, surround myself with a crowd that probably wasn't the best for myself. And when I would come home, she never asked how my day was. She only asked who I was hanging out with. And when I would tell her, she would, after saying who it was, she would just say, okay. And then she would leave the remark, you are who you surround yourself with. And that, and I'm not saying it was all the time, but I remember her saying it. And it really registered with me, and has registered with me my whole life because, back then, who I was hanging out with I was doing things that I probably shouldn't be doing. And not that it was like really bad or anything, you know what I mean? But it was like
Teenager things.
Yeah. And, you fast forward, to being here and surround yourself with people like Zaire Turner and Dre Brown and Max Steinecker and Logan Sneed and Weston, who has been here before, and Skylar, and Addie, and Gav, all these people, Clark Stroud, Dave, we got really great people in this building, and us being all together as one, all striving to be the very best, it's only going to make this place the very best, and it's going to get the best out of me. The really cool thing that we have in our front office right now is we got 3 GMs in Weston, Dre, and Max. We have 3 college GMs that are on our staff that are all looking at me saying, I want to be you, and I want to be better than you. And I love that. I don't have all the answers. I've never been one to say I have all the answers. But when you surround yourself with really great people, you're going to get the best version of yourself because they're pushing you. You have no time. I don't have time to not be at my best, because if not, one of those dudes are going to come in and be like, hey, this is, I think we should do this because this is what's best. That's awesome. You know what I mean? I just want to be the best. And I want to surround myself with the best, and we have the best here at USC, so USC can be its best.
We're on the same wavelength, because I was about to ask you, the people you brought over with you that you've had at multiple stops, can you kind of introduce them to us and why you thought they were a good fit for USC?
Yeah, so I'll start with Zaire Turner. She was the director of player personnel at Notre Dame, and she is a phenomenal person, and she tells me the one thing I love about her is she's not afraid to tell me when I'm wrong, or how I should handle things. She is not afraid. She's not afraid of anybody, and that's what I love about her. And I truly think she's a trailblazer in the entire profession. She, had built great relationships with admissions and really cared about kids at Notre Dame, and that was an element that I knew I had to have here, especially with how she cares about young people and genuinely cares about the families.
Yeah.
I thought was a vital thing for us and needed, and how she honestly would help with the staff, the front office staff, because, I'm typically pretty go, and she'll sit there and say, no, let's take a breath. And she's not afraid to tell me that in front of everybody. And you need that.
Yeah.
You need that. You need somebody that's going to say, you're wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And tell me why.
Yeah.
You know, I don't lead by, it's not a dictatorship. We're all in it together. And no idea is a bad idea. So Dre Brown is one of the best evaluators, I think, in the country. He came from Illinois. He was a director of player personnel. He actually played running back at Illinois and was all Big Ten, I believe, returner. But he, I think, is one of the best evaluators in the entire country. Mm. And we have a guy that can, you know, has a true eye for talent at multiple positions. And not only that, he's an elite recruiter and he understands this game. And he can relate to these kids because he played. Yeah. And he played in the Big Ten. And, you know, his ability to relationship build and evaluate and help coaches and, you know, truly understand what we're trying to build. And he's been within my system. He was a key hire. Someone else we hired, Max Steinecker, who is the GM at Wisconsin. He had worked for me as a recruiting, basically, analyst at the University of Cincinnati when I was younger. Now, Max had experienced me at a younger me.
Okay.
So things were a lot more, I don't know what the right term would be, but I was a lot more aggressive.
Okay.
I know. Try to imagine that.
I don't know if I want to.
It was something. But he, you know, we had stayed in touch for a very long time. You know, I think he was a key piece to what was going on at Wisconsin. And, you know, he's very structured and detailed and organized. He's also a great evaluator and recruiter, but there's a lot of things that he brings to the table in the way he thinks. He's very thoughtful. I think he's a really impressive young man. I think he's going to be a really phenomenal GM one day for a big time program. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have Z. I call her Z. I'm blessed to have Dre. I'm blessed to have Max. You know, they are phenomenal people and they care about these kids. And they want to win just as bad as we all do. And, you know, I'm blessed to have them. The other one is, you know, Logan Sneed, who is obviously Les Sneed's son, who had actually, he did a internship for me at Notre Dame.
Okay.
This past summer. And he had played at San Diego. He got his degree. So, you know, I'd kind of known Les a little bit, and we kind of got connected. You know, my dad was a GM in Major League Baseball. You know, a lot of the things that Les was mentioning to me about Logan was how my dad, you know, kind of spoke to me. Mm. And in any way that I could help develop him, you know, I'm hoping this time next year we're doing this, and I'm saying we have 4 GMs, you know, and Logan's going to be one too. And I'm going to give that kid everything I can to help develop him. And, you know, I really think that kid, the way he works every day, kid's a hustler. You could ask that kid to do anything and he'd do it. I don't know if there's any way I could segue this to Weston. But, you know, I had heard great things about Weston before I got here. Yeah, I know he was at Ohio State, then came over to USC, and you know, Coach Riley was like, "Wait till you meet Weston," and I love him. Like, he's one of my favorite people in the profession. Like his energy, and you talk about a guy that loves this place. This guy loves USC and believes in this place so much, and is also a great evaluator, recruiter, and you know, he's also going to be a GM here soon too. He's there's no other Weston in the business, so he's one to keep an eye on, you know, for his career.
Well, now I'm curious because you were more aggressive. What's been the evolution of you and you as a leader?
People telling me to slow down. I think, you know, there was times where people would say I'm like a tornado, you know, and it's good in a lot of ways, but there's also some destruction that takes place. And I had a lot of people cleaning up messes of mine. I'm just being transparent here. Like there was a lot of messes that I would leave behind. And I was so fortunate to be around really great people that helped me find a better way to do things. And there's coaches that have helped me do that. There's, people within administrations that have helped me do that. And I'm so thankful and grateful. Maturity, my wife, you know what I mean? My wife is, I would say I would attribute it, I would attribute it a lot to her. But so many different people have helped me get to what I want to accomplish without being as messy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, how does that humility piece come in? Because, sometimes it's hard in our business to find the humility to have someone tell you in front of everyone, you're wrong. But it seems like you're proud that Z does that. Where does that humility piece come from?
I've never won a national championship. And I want to find the answers to doing that. And I don't have all the answers. And I'm not going to operate like I do. I need people to tell me that, I might be wrong. I need it because maybe there is a better way to do things. And this is a business that's, forever evolving, which is why I love it so much. But I need people that can help me try to find, the best avenue, the best direction for this program to move forward better than anyone else. I don't like waiting for I want college football to catch up to us. And I want everybody to, sit there and go, man, you see what they're doing. And they already are quietly, which has been really, really fun the last 30 days.
How do you pick that up? How do you know that they're saying that?
I'm not giving sources, but
Okay.
They're calling and asking around what is going on at USC. And I'm loving every minute of it because we're coming.
Interesting. Now, I feel like part of that, and we've talked about the evolution of college sports, the Time to Win campaign just debuted this past week. We're recording on a Friday.
Yep.
What does that mean to you? Can you describe what that is for USC fans who are trying to understand what that campaign is?
Time is now. And I want to, the time is now in recruiting. The time is now for this football program. The time is now for our athletics department. There is a new era of college athletics that is soon to happen. And, we got answers and we know what we're going to do. We have a plan and it is clear. The campaign and how aggressive we're going to be in NIL is as aggressive as we're going to be in recruiting, and it all aligns. I want all of our fans to know that when you see this campaign, this is a position of power. This isn't a position of, we're weak, we need things, whatever. No. We have a lot, but we're going for it all. And the time is right now. And we're not going to wait. This is the best high school class in the state of California, probably in 2 decades. And we're coming for it. And these kids know, and these high school coaches know, and everywhere in the country with how we're recruiting knows it too. And this campaign aligns with a very forward-thinking vision for this football program when it comes to NIL. It comes to building this roster, and the timing of this campaign couldn't be any better. And I'm grateful that Jen Cohen and our administration and the alignment that we all have together are all cohesively working together to do this.
From your perspective of what you want to build on here, how much does this campaign move the needle for you?
1,000% it's moving the needle. And it's because it's going to take everyone that loves this place and loves this city. And I know already what is being done, what has already been done within the last, 5-6 days. We are moving the needle. And this has been, just the type of support that we're getting, even from former players, alums, people in this city. Everybody wants to see USC football. Everyone wants to see a home game in the Coliseum. And no one wants to see it more than us and this coaching staff. I mean, we're going to do everything that we can to get a home playoff game for this city and for these fans because they deserve it. I think these fans deserve everything, but we need them too. We need the fans. We need every major supporter that loves this place. And the vision for this place is real. And we're going to do it the right way, and we're going to win. I know what it takes to win. I've been around it. I've seen it. And the more that we can continue to move the needle within this campaign, you're getting closer to a national championship. And people need to know that. Our fans need to know it. Alums need to know it. Major contributors to this university, as far as the staff and everyone involved, needs to know that this campaign gets us closer to a national championship. There's a vision. There's forward thinking involved. There's a plan. There's a yearly plan, and we're going to execute it, and we already are.
You mentioned, synergy, alignment, resources. I feel like that leads to the top with Jen Cohen. What have you seen from her and her support?
Jen Cohen is a rock star. She is phenomenal. And her initiative is to win the new era of college athletics. And she's got a vision, unlike any other athletic director in college football, any other athletic director across the country. And she is a killer. And she likes to bow up too, which is truly awesome to see. And I know that her vision, that's the beauty of it. Her vision aligns with my vision. And the synergy and the continuity, the energy around this program and what we're doing right now in this city, there's nothing like it. There is no better time to be at USC. It's the place to be. This is the moment. Our time to win is now. And we're going to win this new era of college athletics. And when people see us in the national championship very soon, everyone's going to think back on these moments.
You obviously talk so highly about this program and where you want it to go, but I also know that it takes time to go there and to build to that place. How do you set expectations in that sense?
Yeah, when you talk about expectations, you have to be real. I'm not saying next year we're going to win a national championship. I'm not going to go out here and say that, but I know we have the plan that is going to give us an opportunity to sustain winning. And that will take place to where we are in a playoff every single year and knocking on the door every single year. And that's a position you got to be in. And it's got to be done through culture. It's got to be done through high school. It's got to be done every single day. And you got to have the forward thought to creating this roster into which it can do this. I know what this team needs. I know what this program needs. And we're doing it.
In that sense, what fuels you? Like what gets you out of bed every day? Is it just this prospect of building towards greatness?
Yes. It's when there's a storm, I love being in the storm and come out on the other side.
You're a problem solver.
Yes. And I love to problem solve. And here's the thing about this football program. We are so close. It's closer than people think. And there are tweaks here and there and little things that can enhance this program that we're going to do that is going to help this place reach where it wants to go, which is the top. And the best part is climbing the mountain. That's the funnest part because it's scary. It's scary climbing the mountain. Everyone likes to take pictures at the top. They don't take pictures while they're climbing because they're worried. They're worried about falling. I love climbing. And I love fear and that feeling that, today I have to win. That's the best feeling in the world. I think about every program every day. I thought about them during the dead period, and that's why we worked the hardest, because I wanted to beat everybody. And we're going to beat everybody in March, and April, and May, and tomorrow at 1 a.m., and tomorrow at 2 a.m., and tomorrow at 3 a.m. Like, every single moment of every single day, we're going to climb the mountain. And then when we get to the top, that's when we'll take pictures.
Now, this is a little bit behind the scenes because I'm privileged to be on the same staff as you. So I was also in the all-staff meeting this week, and I thought it was fascinating. You had a little impromptu speech to the entire group because you stood up as one of the new hires.
Yep.
And you were talking about how you, at Notre Dame, talked to the fencing program about their recruiting strategies. And I was like, I made a note in my phone at the time in that meeting because I was like, I have to ask you about that. What, one, made you do that? And two, what did you learn?
They won championships. And they produced multiple, Olympians and multiple winners. And I just wanted to know how they recruited, how they traveled. I wanted to know some of the things that they were doing to get the best personnel to, win. And, look, there's a lot of different things that sports are sports. I look at our sand volleyball team. They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
You look at our women's basketball team.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
If I can learn what's going on, especially at this place, to better understand how it's being done and how success is going. I'm big into analytics. I'm big into stats. I like to look at what's been done in the past to help predict the future, because what's ever been done in the past, history likes to rewrite itself. And if you look into the past of this place and look at sports and how they've been successful in each sport, and if you can take even if you find one thing that can help your day to day and help your team be better, it goes back to the point of, I don't have all the answers. So I want to surround myself with really smart people. And I want to find out how other programs and businesses are successful. And that's why I had talked to the fencing coach at Notre Dame. And I look forward to having more conversations with staff members at USC.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, I know you're a busy man. I don't want to keep you for too long. Any final message to USC fans before I let you go?
I chose this place because the history of this place and the championships that have been won and the success that has happened in this program can be sustained. And I want to have sustained success. And if you are a fan of this program and you love this place at USC, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take your support. It is going to take your understanding. It is going to take expectation setting, in which it might not be right now, but it's coming. And the way we are recruiting and the way that we are going to function every single day as an organization will be first class, and we will be in the position to win. And I cannot wait until you come to the Coliseum and you see those kids run out the tunnel and you are as excited as anybody for these kids and for this program. And it's going to take buy-in not only from our staff and administration, it's going to take buy-in from everybody, because we are all in this together. And very soon, when we're in a playoff and we're winning what we want this place to do, when we want this place to get to a championship and win that thing, we'll all be on the mountain taking photos.
Amazing. I mean, you got me ready to run through a wall, so I'm sure the Trojan family is ready as well.
I love it.
Thank you so much, Chad, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
That's going to wrap it up for today's episode with Chad Bowden. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it got you fired up. I did warn you that the man is passionate, but so glad we got to sit down and talk to him. We'll be back with more interview episodes this offseason, so stay tuned. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode. For producer Emily, I'm Keely. We'll see y'all next time.